The Tongan Castaways were a group of 6 teens who got stranded on an island in 1965 for 15 months. Now, I never actually read Lord of the Flies, but I gather that some kids get stranded on an island, go ham on a kid named Pigpen, and the general idea is that at our core, people are evil and power hungry. But some 14 years after the release of the book, these boys did get stuck on an island and it didn't turn out like that. They were going to a strict Catholic boarding school and they hated it there. So they decided to steal a boat from an asshole fisherman they hated and try to make it to Fiji or maybe New Zealand. They sailed away with clear skies with nothing more than a few sacks of bananas, some coconuts, and a gas burner. They anchored for the night some 5 miles north of Tonga Tapu and woke up in a storm. First thing to break was the anchor, and then they hoisted the sail and it got ripped to shreds, and then the rudder went too. So they went adrifting for 8 days with no more food or water except for a little bit of rain they caught in coconut shells, and they shared it equally. Finally, they caught sight of the rocky, cliffy Ata Island, some 99 miles southwest of Tonga's main island, Tonga Tapu. For the first 3 months on the island, the boys were desperate for food and water. They survived on fish, seabird meat, eggs and blood, and coconuts. Then they found the ruins of a village in the island's volcanic crater. It was a 2 days climb away and had been inhabited 100 years earlier. Around 350 people had lived there in 1863, but almost half of them were captured and enslaved. So the Tongan king at the time, George Tapu I, sent schooners over to evacuate the island and get them to a place where they would be safer. Back in the ruins, the boys found feral chickens, wild taro, and bananas, and life got better for them. At one point, one of the boys named Steven fell off a cliff and broke his leg, and the other boys carried him back up the cliff and set his leg with sticks and leaves. He also started a fire with 2 sticks, and together the boys kept it alight continuously for almost a year. Another boy named Kolo made a makeshift guitar out of a piece of driftwood, a half a coconut, and some wires salvaged from the wrecked boat. Finally, on September 11th, 1966, the boys finally caught a glimpse of an Australian fishing boat captained by a guy named Peter Warner. From the boat with binoculars, Warner first saw patches of burnt cliffside, and then saw the boys swimming naked and unkempt towards his boat. Steven got to the boat first, and he yelled out, "My name is Steven, there are 6 of us, and we reckon we've been here for about 15 months. At home, the boys had been thought dead, and funerals had been held for them. When the boys got back to the city, the police arrested them at behest of the fisherman who was still livid about his boat getting jacked. So Peter reached out to the manager of Channel 7 Australia and reached a deal with them to make a documentary about the boys. He then paid the fisherman for his boat, and then the boys were released on the condition that they go through with filming the documentary. As a reward for saving 6 of his subjects, the Tongan king asked Warner if he wanted anything. And when he asked for permission to trap lobsters and start a business there, it was granted to him. A doctor found Steven's leg to be perfectly healed, and you could find the documentary they made here on YouTube.